You can see these are the pig heads which they have placed, and this is our temporary prayer place. So they have placed it right in front of our temporary prayer place.
Every once in a while, we hear sad news about people from around the world trying to disrespect Islamic sentiments. Something similar is happening to Daegu, South Korea. So there's this new mosque being built right in the heart of the city. But guess what? It's causing quite a big argument that's been going on for 3 whole years. Because on one side, Muslims, especially students from the National University, want the mosque to be here. They see it as an important place for their community to gather and pray. While on the other side, we've got the local people who live near the campus, and they're not so happy about it. They think the mosque might cause some issues for them. In case you don't know, let us tell you that the Muslim community at KNU consists mostly of students from countries like Pakistan, Nigeria, and Bangladesh, where Islam is prominent. There are around 80 to 150 members, and they have become too big for their current place. The Darul Iman Kyungpook Islamic Center, which they bought in 2014. This center is located very close to the university's west gate. The students want to build a bigger mosque where they could gather and pray together. So in September 2020, they asked for permission from the local district office. Moreover, students promised to install an extractor chimney and soundproof walls and windows. They also planned not to have an external loudspeaker for adhan. Luckily, they got the approval to construct the mosque in the same spot where they had been praying for the past 7 years.
From past 7 years, like we are praying in the same place, and at that time, like 7 years ago, our seniors, the senior students here, so they bought this place. And because like as a Muslim, you know that we have to offer 5 times a day. So that's why a place was needed. We are students. So for students, like we cannot go far away. The place is, as I will show you, that it's like very small. Not all the students can be accommodated in that place. So some students, like in Jummah prayer, Friday prayer, so they will be standing outside in the hot weather, in the raining. So that's why from past 7 years we are collecting funds from our students only.
How many students, Muslim students in here?
So right now, like more than 150 students.
150?
Yeah,
So
from
large.
different nations.
So it's impossible to pray in like this kind of place?
Yes.
And at the same time it's impossible?
Yes, it's impossible.
Okay, I see.
So that's why we needed a proper place. Before starting the construction, first thing was to legally take approval from the legal authorities, an ethical responsibility.
However, some people who live nearby were not happy about the idea of having a mosque in their neighborhood. They thought that having a mosque there would make the area look bad. They were so upset about it that they started protesting against the construction of the mosque. Pamphlets were being distributed in the nearby streets, spreading rumors that the neighborhood would turn into a bad place and that the value of the houses would drop dramatically. The students attending the prayer room were unfairly called hurtful names like terrorists, and mean signs were put up all over the streets. People gathered for protests, and loud music was played right outside the prayer room.
You can see that our prayer is going on, and like they are constantly playing this music.
The district office reacted quickly to the protests and decided to stop the mosque's construction for the time being. They were worried that the situation could become emotionally unstable if the opposition continued, and they were also concerned that building the mosque might violate some people's property rights. The Muslim community was surprised by the sudden resistance of their plans. They had been using the same site to pray peacefully for many years, and they hadn't faced any big problems before. They felt sad and disappointed that their desire for a larger prayer place was met with such strong opposition. Even though the mosque project faced opposition from local residents, the Supreme Court eventually ruled to allow its construction. However, some community members continued to harbor strong prejudices against Islam and Muslims. They spread hateful messages, handed out pamphlets, and organized rallies specifically targeting Muslims. The situation took a harder and more disturbing turn on October of last year. A severed pig's head was found placed in front of the construction site. This act was deeply offensive to Muslims because we all know that Islamic law forbids Muslims from consuming pork. The use of pork and pig-related symbols as a way to express hate against Muslim students only served to make the situation even more tense and hostile. Despite the court's decision, the opposition did not cease, and the tensions between the students and the locals continued to intensify. The hateful messaging and actions hurt the feelings of Muslims in the area and created an atmosphere of fear and division among the entire community. Unfortunately, in South Korea, there are no specific laws that address hate speech directly. This lack of legal framework makes it challenging to hold individuals accountable for their offensive actions, including pig heads, as a form of protests. Requests were made to authorities to remove the pig heads that were placed near the religious building, as they were considered highly offensive and disrespectful. However, the authorities claimed that their current laws did not grant them the power to intervene in this particular situation. Students even took their matter to Kim Jong-a, who is the deputy chair of the residents' community. She explained that the opposition by the residents of that area was not directed towards the religious building itself. Instead, it was primarily about its location in a residential area with narrow streets.
So they actually organized a barbecue party right outside the mosque gate. The main aim of them is like to make us irritated. So they keep on doing these kind of acts, like placing the pig heads, which they have been placed from the 27th October till now. They are still placed there. It's not just because of this action.
Recently, when Al Jazeera visited Daegu, 3 pig heads and trotters were rotting inside a fridge placed in front of the construction site. A plastic pig's head was also positioned against a banner proclaiming against the construction of the mosque. Well, it seems like South Korea is facing some severe issues with discrimination. This whole situation of students trying to build a mosque is getting people talking about diversity in South Korea. See, the country is facing an aging population and shortage of workers, and they're looking to immigration as a way to help with that. But this clash over the mosque is making folks wonder if the nation is ready to fully embrace different cultures and beliefs. This issue is not just about discrimination, it's also about how South Korea can successfully integrate immigrants into its workforce and society as a whole. The way South Korea deals with this issue will shape its future, determining whether it becomes a more open and accepting society or not. It's an important topic that requires thoughtful consideration and action from everyone involved.